600 million Indians, that's nearly half the population, are facing acute water shortages. Despite India's economic growth in recent years, it remains one of the most unequal societies in the world. And that inequality can be seen in people's access to life's most basic necessity, water. While swimming pools and luxury hotels remain full, three quarters of the population don't have drinking water at home. The effects of the drought are seen most clearly in rural India. For the villages of Dindori, India, water is not taken for granted. During the summer, many wells dry up, forcing people to walk miles for water. In this case, young girls must climb down as far as 40 feet to fill their buckets. Using ropes and small footholds, accidents quite frequent occur. Once at the bottom, worm infested water is collected. This village is one of the many villages struggling with limited water supplies. India's rivers was once seen as a repository of wealth, a source of livelihood, water, and biodiversity. Today, many of these sources of clean water are dying due to widespread pollution. The top government planning agency, Niti Aayog, says India is suffering from its worst water crisis in its history.
I can guarantee with a 99.99% probability at least 5 to 6 important cities in India will face zero water day because of continued mismanagement.
According to Niti Aayog, by 2025, the groundwater of 21 cities will be finished. Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad are part of this list of 21 cities. But in Rajya Sabha, hardly any politician attended the debate on this water crisis. While monsoon has arrived in parts of the country, still there will be a lot of places that will be suffering from drought. At the same time, while there will be places going through flooding, over that, India's 70% water is polluted. In the list of 122 nations, we are the third most water polluted country in the world. Every year, 2 lakh people die out of drinking polluted water. In the agriculturally prosperous states of Punjab, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh, extensive cultivation of water-intensive crops like rice and wheat has led to the over-extraction of groundwater. As a result, the groundwater table has been falling at an alarming rate. The absence of adequate regulations of the provision of subsidized electricity for pumping has exacerbated the problem. Rajasthan, however, part of Thar Desert, faces chronic water scarcity. The scarcity is not only due to arid climate but also inefficient water management practices. Traditional water conservation methods like jihad and bawlis have been neglected in favor of unsustainable water extraction techniques. Gujarat also faces water scarcity, particularly in the Saurashtra and Kutch regions. But water scarcity is only a part of India's water problems. The river of northwest regions like Ganga and Yamuna and Satluj are lifelines for millions. However, they are plagued by pollution from industrial effluents, domestic sewage, and agricultural runoff containing pesticides. Many cities like Bangalore largely depends on groundwater that's being extracted at an exponential rate by private tanker operators.
Catchment area is drying up because of soil erosion and deforestation issues. See, earlier Bangalore had some water at 400 feet. Now it has reached 1,000 feet. In last 5 years, such a sharp drop has taken place. Now we will probably reach layers where we will have arsenic and other contamination in the groundwater. So we can't go endlessly deeper and deeper.
According to the new State of Groundwater report released by the Central Groundwater Board, 12 Indian states have uranium levels beyond permissible limits. In their groundwater report, titled Groundwater Yearbook 2021-22, reveals that uranium concentrations in the country's shallow groundwater range from 0 to 532 parts per billion, 30 parts per billion is a safe level prescribed by the Bureau of Indian Standards and the World Health Organization. Punjab is the worst affected state, with nearly 29 of wells found to have uranium concentrations of more than 30 parts per billion. Uranium is a nephrotoxic element and can have adverse impact at very high concentrations. High uranium concentrations in underground water can cause impaired renal functions, bone toxicity, and kidney disease.
Water is the most important resource base. If you destroy that, that's the end of your city. And a lot of people who live in those apartment blocks and other small industries around it either do not know or do not care that they are the source of that pollution.
Since clean water is key to survival, in 2015 India adopted clean water and sanitation as one of the 17 sustainable development goals to achieve by 2030. In 5 years till 2021, the central government has allocated rupees 27,413 crore to the Ministry of Jal Shakti. Of the total amount, 71% has been allocated to the Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, whereas the rest 29% of the Department of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. But this is still insufficient because to ensure safe drinking water and sanitation to all World Resource Institute estimated that India needs to invest 3.2% of the GDP into sustainable water management by 2030.